This is the Everything Weight Loss podcast with Shari Ware, where we talk about everything, all things, anything to do with weight loss, health, and wellness. Hello, everybody. Shari Ware here. And today, this is actually going to be an episode of the Everything Weight Loss podcast, and I'm doing it live. And there's a couple of reasons for that. I have a confession to make. Actually, no, I don't have a confession to make. I was on a coaching call with a beautiful lady a little while ago, as in she was coaching me. Yes, coaches need coaches as well. We're all human and we all go through things in our life that can be challenging. And so when that happens, and not even just when that happens, we all need, when we're in a life where we are looking at learning and growing, and we always need help. Not everything is our superpower. We do have a superpower, but there are things that we need help with at times in our lives. And so we all need coaches for different things. So I was talking to a lovely lady who was coaching me just last week or the week before, and I said to her, I have to admit, and then I told her what I had to admit, and I'll be honest, it was all about imposter syndrome. Hands up in the room, those people who have suffered or are suffering from imposter syndrome. It's something that I've definitely had as an ongoing thing in my life, my entire life. Sometimes it's better than others. It's definitely something that I work on a continual basis, as I know a lot of people do. If imposter syndrome is something that you have struggled with or are struggling with, definitely let me know in the comments. I would love to hear. But I have to say that right now, at this point in my life, it is at an all-time high, and there's some reasons for that. A couple of years ago, some craziness started in the world. I don't like to give it a name, but we all know what I'm talking about. And in the last couple of years, the world has really changed. And I'm a very positive person. That's my outlook on life is generally very positive. I like it that way. I'm not saying I'm never negative. We're all human. We all have negative points in our lives. But on the whole, I am a very positive person. And I generally always, more often than not, see the best in people. I see the world, I guess some people would say, through rose-coloured glasses. I actually do know that everything is not rosy. I do have reality in there, but I choose to look on the bright side most times. And probably, I would say maybe about 18 months ago, I woke up one day and the world was not as I thought it was. My whole paradigm shifted. I had a different perspective on things, and I have to say that it was life-changing, and it was really scary, and it was some parts of it were really, I have to say, actually devastating in some ways for me. I'm 47 now. I have to remember how old I am. So we're talking about, 40, 45, 46. And the whole world just looks different to me. So the point of that is that when that happens to you, and I know that I'm not the only one, which is why I'm doing this, and I could have done this in a recorded video, but I decided to do it live because I didn't want to have the opportunity of being able to edit. I wanted it to be real and raw and authentic, and I'm sharing with you. And the reason why I'm doing that is for my own benefit, and also because I know there's other people out there who are just like me, and there's a lot of them. So this is a really important thing to do. And I want to thank you, Julie, who who is my coach, Julie Brown, because I don't think that without that conversation that we had a week ago that I would be doing this right now live. So I want to thank you for that. And I'm happy to share details with people. I will contact Julie after I do this, and I will find out what details she wants me to share for her, and I will include it. I am going to make this into a podcast episode, and I'll include all of those things in the show notes for you. So never fear, that information's coming. But the impact that it has had on my life is that, and I work in the world of health mindset. So this has been a really hard thing for me to go through and to share with people right now. But it's important because I know that not only will it help me, but it will help other people. So how that's impacted in my life is that, and it's all about the subconscious, I know that. Sometimes we can know what's going on, and it did take me a while to figure out what was going on. I have to say, even though I've been through this stuff before, this is something that has happened in my life before, which was why, 13, 14 years ago, I was over 180 kilos. This stuff has played out in my life before, and I thought I'd learnt the lessons. And I had learnt them very, very well. And I'd made some really great changes in my life. I lost a lot of weight, but for me it wasn't about the weight in the end. In the beginning it was. It definitely was in the beginning. It was a weight loss journey. And then, as I've said to people before, it started out as a weight loss journey. I lost 100 kilos, but along the way it turned into a weight release journey where I realised that I needed, what had happened for me naturally was I was doing the inner work that I needed to do to be able to release it and have it not come back. And then it turned into a health journey. And what I mean by health journey is that I'm no longer concerned necessarily about the weight on the scales, the number on the scales. I'm not concerned about the size of the body or the size of the clothes, but what I am focused on is how healthy am I physically, emotionally and mentally. They're all interconnected and they're all really important. So right now I'm at a point in my life where my world changed. Subconsciously, that caused a lot of fear. And how that impacted my life is that, and the fear, and I didn't realise this in the beginning, I realised it probably about 6 months ago, I would say. The fear was around food scarcity. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous in this modern day world that we live in, but somewhere in my subconscious, there was this little voice going that I was unaware of until about 6 months ago, going, you may not be able to get the food that you need when you need it. So what impact did that have? Well, that meant that my subconscious, my very protective, my beautiful subconscious that is just trying to protect me and keep me safe, said, all right, without my knowledge, all right, just in case we can't get that food when we need it, we're going to store some. We're going to store some on the body so that when that happens in the future, or if it happens in the future, we're going to be okay because we've got the food stored on our body. Now, there's a few other things that have come into play. It hasn't just been that one thing. There's also been, I've been under a lot of stress over the past 18 months. Some of that I put my hand up for. I took a little side tangent, decided I was going to run in an election, which was something I'd never imagined that I was going to ever do. Never been interested in politics, but some stuff happened, and I just felt that I needed. There's a lot of people in this world who don't feel that they can stand up and do that kind of stuff, and even though it wasn't a path that I would have normally taken, I felt that I had to for those people who couldn't. So that was a lot of stress. It's definitely, I'm an introvert at heart. I'm not an extrovert. I love people, but being around people all the time, it drains me. I have to be on my own to recharge. I have to be in my little safe cocoon to recharge. That's just a personality trait. Everybody is different. Some people recharge from other people. I'm not that kind of person, and that's okay. We just need to know these things. But what that did was it put an enormous amount of stress on me and on my body, and that amount of stress is not healthy for anybody, and it causes physical issues. And also, just to throw some extra stuff into the mix, I realised also probably about 6 months ago that I believe I've gone into perimenopause, which, you know, considering I'm 47 is not surprising. But that then changes how my body works, and my body doesn't work the same way that it used to work. And so now I have to find what works for me and for my body now at this point in my life. So when I was talking to Julie, I was like, I have to admit that I don't feel like I've been walking my talk. And that has meant that I haven't shown up in the world. That has meant that I haven't done live videos, and I haven't done social media, and I haven't done my podcast. Before I went to do this video, I realised that the last post I did on my business page was February this year. Well, it's almost a year. When I decided that I wanted to start my podcast up again, I went back. I knew it had been a long time, but I went back and looked, and I realised that the last episode I released was, I think it was the 23rd of December last year. So again, almost a year. So this has really impacted my life. Now, it hasn't only impacted my life, it's impacted the lives of other people, because if I don't show up and have these conversations and share these kinds of things with people, which is basically what I was doing before. I was sharing my life and the challenges that I have and the things that I learn. I was sharing that with other people, which is it's helpful for me and it's helpful for others. And because of this, got a little bit excited there. You should see the setup I've got here right now. I even had to relearn how to set up all my stuff to be able to do this, because I haven't done it for so long that I've forgotten. I had to go looking for lights. I didn't know where my lights were. It's you know, the impact that it's had on my life. It's made me retreat back into my safe little cocoon. I only leave my house when I have to. The good thing is I do have to leave my house. There's things that I have to do. But the point is that if I didn't have to leave my house, I wasn't leaving my house. And that's not healthy. I've had to relearn. I'm having to re-establish habits. My life changed so much that some of the really good habits I had that were established were no longer established. And now I'm at the point where I'm having to re-establish those habits. The really awesome thing is that I know how to do that. When I said to Julie, and this is the main point of this video, when I said to Julie that I had to admit, and she reminded me, no, I'm not admitting and I'm not confessing right now, I'm sharing. That was a big aha for me. And that was really helpful. But when I was saying to Julie that I didn't feel like I was walking my talk, we had a conversation around that, and I realised that that wasn't true. But I didn't get the true aha about it until a couple of days later, when I realised, I actually haven't been walking my talk. But not in the way that I thought and not in the way that I was sharing with Julie. The way I wasn't walking my talk is being kind to myself, was understanding that I'm human. These are the things that I say to the people that I work with and the people that I have interactions with. And yes, I do it. I was doing it to a certain extent, but I wasn't doing it the whole way. And that aha, which came about from a conversation with another coach, that is life-changing. Because it brought me back to think, where does all of this start? It all starts from fear, yes. But the only way that we can make changes in our life is when we are kinder to ourselves. When we take a step back and we go, okay, yes, we know that we have some things to change, but we can't do it all at once, because hands up the ones who have done that. And I've done it plenty of times before. You know, back when I was 180 kilos, so many times I would say, okay, that's it. I'm gonna stop eating all the crap. I'm gonna exercise every day, and I'm gonna make all these changes. And then how long does it last? It doesn't last very long, because it's not sustainable. And the other thing that and I know this stuff, but knowing, there's different levels of knowing, and sometimes we forget and we need to be reminded, and we need to relearn lessons, which is this is part, I now see this as part of my journey. This is a very big part of my journey, and this is a part of a lot of other people's journeys. To make changes, we don't make it. Think about a parent berating a child, and this is what our subconscious is. It's not berating us, but it's trying to protect us. Do they listen, or do they go and do the opposite thing? No. There's a very good analogy that I learned when I was going through my NLP training, my hypnotherapy training, and it's that the subconscious, when we're talking about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, it's the captain and the crew. So if you're talking about a ship, you have a captain and you have the crew. Who runs the ship? Who do you think runs the ship? Most people will say, not everyone, but most people will say the captain runs the ship. However, if the captain is asking the crew to sail into a massive storm when they could sail the other way and put their lives in peril, what could the crew do? The crew could either follow the captain and say, yeah, sure, we'll do that, or the crew could turn around and say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm scared of that. I'm going to go the other way and I'm going to sail away from it. And the crew can mutiny. So the conscious mind is the captain and the crew is the subconscious mind. So you can consciously want to make all the changes you want. But if your crew, if your subconscious mind does not want to make those changes for whatever reason, and most of the time it comes back to fear of some kind, we may not be aware of what it is, but it's there, then you won't be able to make those changes. You might be able to make a little bit of progress, but eventually you will self-sabotage. Your crew will make you self-sabotage and you won't be able to make the changes. So we need to be kind to ourselves. We need to do the inner work. We need to remember that we are human and that there is a reason for every single thing that we do. And this is what I say to people, that people aren't bad, that it's not that people don't have willpower. It's because for some reason their crew doesn't want to do what their captain wants them to do. So this is my way of publicly declaring that, and I'm not going to be perfect at this. It's not about being perfect. It's about improving. It's about growing. It's about doing the best that we can. But from when I got my aha moment, which was probably about a week ago now, and from now on, I'm going to do better with walking my talk. And when I'm talking about walking my talk, I'm talking about being kinder to myself and understanding that I am human and focusing on small changes, small daily changes, which I've been doing. I'll tell you more about that in another episode. I'm actually really excited, and as part of doing it, I'm creating something which I know will help other people. I'm really excited about that, and it's something that I have kind of done in the past, but this time I've created something special to go with it that will be really helpful, and I'm going to be using it too. Everything that I do comes out of something that I've created for me that I feel will help other people. So if this is something that resonates with you, that you have also been struggling with, I would love to know. I would love to, if you don't want to post something in the comments, feel free to reach out to me, private message me. I know I'm not the only one in the world that the last couple of years has rocked their boat, so to say, and we're now living in a new paradigm. I know I'm not the only one. I know that I'm not the only one who's going through the challenges that we're facing at the moment. But I would love to know if you resonate. And what I will do is end it here and say, one little thing I almost forgot is that this episode is being sponsored by DIY Inspos. DIY stands for Deep Inside Yourself, and it's actually a little project that my daughter and I, but she's the creative one, which will make more sense in a minute. We decided that we would start this together, and it was because we were struggling with the changes in our world, and we needed some daily inspirations, some things that we decided we needed some things that we could use daily that would remind us of some things that were really important to us. So we created this little business called DIY Inspos, and it stands for Deep Inside Yourself, and it's for when you need to find whatever it is that's deep inside you to be able to deal with what's going on in your world, with the challenges that you have. So how that has manifested is she makes these beautiful personalised items. So I've got a little tote bag here, and it's a bit hard to see in the light. As I said, I had to find my setup again. But it's got my name on it. It's got the third eye chakra, because that was my chakra from the book that I wrote with the 6 other beautiful women, which is really the only social media I've done lately, and that was because it was for them, not me so much. I'll do things for other people, but not for me. So now it's about doing things for me and also helping other people at the same time. But on the back of it, this is the most special thing, is a reminder that I have everything I need inside of me. So that's a little tote bag. She's made that for me, special. I decided what I wanted on there, and the heart, to remind myself to love me. And that's a bag that I use to carry things around, and I see it every day. She made me this beautiful little, I call it a sippy cup, an adult sippy cup. It's a travel mug. And again, it's got my chakra, because we made these specifically to go with the book. But I got to choose a word, and the word I chose that I wanted to be reminded of every day was faith. To have faith that I had everything I needed inside of me to do what I needed to do. The tagline for the business, I love. It's really helpful, and the tagline is your daily inspirations to, and I need to get glasses, obviously. Your daily inspirations to create the life you love. There you go, your daily inspirations to create the life you love. I helped create that tagline, but I couldn't remember what it was, word for word. And things like drink bottles. Again, she's made me a beautiful drink bottle with my name and my chakra on it. And interesting that I got the third eye chakra. That's a whole nother story. But the point is, she can make anything personalised. There's a few caveats. Needs to be a design that she has a special machine. It's called a cricket machine, if anybody knows what they are. And she creates designs and cuts them out on that, and then can personalise a lot of items, t-shirts, cups. I've put the Facebook page in the comments, so if anybody wants to go and check that out, they can go check that out. And if there's something that you need some help with, something that you want a daily reminder of, a drink bottle, a travel mug, a tote bag, something that you're going to use, or a t-shirt that you're going to wear, something that you're going to use every day of your life, that will be helpful and remind you of that, then she can help you out with that. So that's pretty much where I wanted to leave it. I would love to hear if you, either privately or in the comments, if this is something that you've struggled with, if you resonate, and this will be released as an episode on my podcast. I'll have all the show notes and how you can get in contact with the lovely Julie Brown, because she was definitely very helpful for me. And I want to remind you to be kind to yourself. To help me, I'm going to remind me to walk my talk in being kind and loving to myself, and I am human, and that I do have everything I need inside of myself. You have everything you need inside of yourself, and let's look at moving forward and progress and showing up in the world one step at a time, one small daily change at a time. And what I always say to my people is that even if we don't get there the way we thought we were going to get there, we may go on some little detours sometimes, but we always get to our destination in the end, always. So love to you all. Thank you for listening to me ramble for the last 27 minutes. Looking forward to sharing more on my podcast. I'm really excited about it. I filmed a couple of new episodes lately, and I'll be releasing them over the next couple of weeks. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Remember to check out the show notes, and if you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, I'd love to hear them. If you've received value from this podcast, make sure to subscribe, and I'd love you to rate and review the show. Have a fabulous day.